All right, everyone. Good morning. It is 10 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Many of you in the attendance today know me already, but if you don't, my name is Chelsea Gomez, and I am here with Action Benefits, as you probably already know, to introduce you to my friend Todd Taylor from Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions, which some of us might know by its former name of GeoBlue, but they have rebranded and they're now Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions. I know it was probably difficult to drag yourself into this webinar today from the beautiful, gorgeous weather we're having right now to spend time with Todd. So I deeply appreciate you doing that with me. If you have any questions, please go ahead and throw them into the chat below, and I will answer them as soon as I can or get them to Todd if I don't know the answer and Todd does. Otherwise, I think we are all set, and I will hand the torch over to my friend Todd. Todd, take it away.
Great. Thanks, Chelsea. Appreciate it. Good to be with everyone today. This is an easy product. It's a product that many of you already have some familiarity with. It's a product that every one of you has a client for today. As I always say, if you need a passport, you need a plan. And it's never more true as considering everything. It's an understatement to say there's a lot of things going on in the world today. You work very hard to protect your clients domestically. Please make sure they are also protected when they go either vacation, on a business trip, or any other international activity. Please make sure they are protected. As part of the presentation today, we will talk about international healthcare. We'll talk about what's changing. We'll talk about the products themselves. We have four international Blue Cross Blue Shield branded products. We simplified the names as well to make it easier to understand which products for what. We'll wrap it up in a case study. We'll talk about getting contracted to sell this product, which takes just a few minutes. And then we'll talk about how to sell it and things like that. And more than happy to answer any questions at the end of the presentation. My name's Todd Taylor. Many of you may know me just from events around Michigan. I have been doing this now for almost 20 years here at Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions, which was formerly GeoBlue. Here is my contact information. I'll also give you the contact for my broker support team at the end. Feel free to contact me, feel free to contact them, and we will answer your questions and help you accordingly. As I mentioned previously, you may have been, and as Chelsea mentioned as well, you may be familiar as we were Geo Blue on the individual side. We were Blue Cross Blue Shield Global on the group side. We've now streamlined everything. We are now Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions, and we will be that here on out. And the idea of the rebrand was just to make us more aligned with our other Blue Plan partners, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. So we are now Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions. And what we essentially are is the international division of all of the Blue Cross Blue Shield companies. And when we initiated our country at the inception of our company, the goal was to create an array of Blue Cross Blue Shield branded international travel products. I head up the individual side. We also have a group division, a corporate group division, and then we also have a student group division as well. If you have those opportunities, I am more than happy to get you over to those individuals. So why it is important to have one of these plans for international travel. If you need a passport, you need a plan. One of the most important benefits of having a Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions plan is that we give our membership access to a direct billing international PPO. If you've dealt with international claims before, if you yourself incurred an international claim, you may be familiar with the fact that you generally have to come out of pocket, can be a significant amount of money. You then have to sort of wrangle with your domestic health plan, which is not really used to managing an international claim. And then maybe at some point you are reimbursed something. It can generally be very time consuming. You may have to translate claims. You might not get reimbursed your full amount. You might not get reimbursed anything at all. With these international travel plans, we give our membership access to a direct billing international PPO. We can direct bill small things such as a sick visit for like a Montezuma's Revenge or something like that, we can also do a full-fledged air ambulance medical evacuation that we can coordinate, arrange, and direct bill. If someone passes away overseas, getting the remains back is a very complicated and expensive process. That is also part of the coverage. So we do cover for a medical evacuation, which can easily cost around $50,000 to $60,000. We can do a repatriation of remains. We can also do the little things such as blood work, a sick visit, MRI, if someone would need that as well. When you become one of our Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions members, you get access to our ID card. You would use that ID card on an international trip and not your domestic health plan. You also get access to a membership portal seen here where you can track your claims. If you forgot your ID card, you can get access to that. You can view the network. You can see where you can go. There's also no penalty for going outside of the network. If there's a doctor across the street instead of a couple miles away, you can certainly go to that physician at no penalty. So again, these are all access and benefits that you get access to. There's also an international drug equivalency tool. Medications don't translate the same from one country to another. Tylenol, for example, is bufferin in China. So you want to make sure your medication is the same one. You can put what you're on inside the app and it will translate accordingly. You also get access to a translation service. If you're in a hospital and people, are having a hard time, you're having a hard time communicating, for example, you can put into the Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions app exactly what you're trying to say and it will repeat. We have 14 of the world's most popular languages in the app. Just some stats here on the network. Roughly 74% of our claims are direct billed through the international PPO network. We have our membership have access to 2.5 million providers worldwide. We're in 190 countries. I think there's 196 countries in the world. So no matter where you are, likely we will have providers that can direct bill. And obviously we are very highly rated in terms of our app, and we also give access to a telemedicine service as well on the individual side. So if you wake up one morning, you don't really feel like going to the doctor internationally, you can connect through the telemedicine service right through the Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions app. So that's another value-added benefit as part of our coverage. It's a little bit of a busy slide here, but the main number that I would have you all focus on is towards the left here, the 73.4 million. It's a pretty mind-boggling number when you think about it. Your clients are traveling, you're traveling, and I was just talking to someone recently. I was in Nashville for an event, and someone would say, "Well, I'm not traveling internationally. I'm just going to Canada." Well, that's international. If you're going to Canada, you're going to Mexico, you're going to the Caribbean. All of these are international trips. There was 73.4 million international trips that left the United States last year. And these numbers are even a little bit old. This is from December 2024. The numbers for 2025 will probably be 76 or 77 million. So there's a wide range of people doing their own international travel, despite all of the negative things potentially that are happening in the world. There is still a very high demand for international travel. And
Todd, we've
just a
got a
few,
question in the chat really quick.
yeah, sure, go ahead.
I think I know the answer, but I don't want to be wrong. Can you use this product on a cruise ship, either from the ship's doctor or while at different ports?
Yep, as long as it's an international cruise. So your Caribbean cruises, your Mediterranean cruises, um, but it's not for a lot. I get a lot of questions about an Alaskan cruise. If it's on the Canadian side, then that's fine, but we do not cover in Alaska.
You read my mind. That was going to be my next
Yeah.
question after that. What
Yep.
about Alaska? Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah, and just some stats here. Obviously COVID, is very much, we're hearing about hantavirus now, which is another thing that got started on, we're talking about cruise ships. But most people are, COVID well outside the window. That's something that almost knocked the lights out of us here at Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions, but people have that in the rearview mirror. And just, some stats here about people just wanting to use their disposable income for either a bucket list trip, their discretionary income for international travel, especially seniors. If you're in the senior markets, I please counsel you, do not let seniors go abroad just on Medicare. It's going to invite a calamity, especially if they have to use, on a supplement, for example. There may be a $50,000 lifetime limit on international travel, but with that service, unfortunately, there's no direct billing, there's no medical evacuation, there's no repatriation of remains. It is a complete pay and claim benefit, and it's lifetime of only $50,000. It only covers at 80%, and there's a $250 deductible with that. On an Advantage plan, they're a little bit all over the place. I've seen some Advantage plans that cover at $25,000 lifetime. I've seen others that cover up to $100,000. I've seen some that don't cover at all. I just always say if you're a senior on Medicare, please make sure you're protected for international travel. And as agents, please make sure you're letting your senior clients know as well.
We have another question. I honestly don't
Yep,
know the answer to this either.
yep, yep.
How is the lifetime 50K tracked if someone switches carriers? Do you know?
That is actually a really interesting question. I do not know the answer to that.
Right, I didn't
Um,
expect you to because it's not your expertise here. And I honestly don't know either, Brandon. I can look that up for you
yeah,
and get back
we
to
can
you on
find
that,
that
but
out.
I don't know off the top of my head here like how that is actually tracked.
Yeah, I would probably assume because it's obviously easy, if it's an international claim, the Medicare company can obviously tell and code that specifically, and it probably just transfers over, is what I would think. However, that being said, with one of these plans, you can purchase it per trip, and it's up to $1 million. So if you're on one of our Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions plan, and you have a senior that's going on an international trip, and they incur a claim, that's fine. And then on the next trip, they can buy a new plan, and they have access to the same $1 million benefit. So with this product, you can purchase per trip, and there's no siphoning off of benefit for a claim. So, kind of just, I was already talking about this, but most people just assume that their domestic health plan covers them when they travel overseas. And just oftentimes that is just very much not the case. And it can lead to significant out-of-pocket costs. ACA plans have very limited international coverage. We just talked about the Medicare side of it. And then a group health plan, if you have a Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan group plan, you very well may be covered for what the group covers domestically and have a mirror benefit internationally. In other words, what you covered for domestically could be the same internationally, but you're still subject to the same deductibles and copays and co-insurances. Again, with one of these Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions plans, you can have a $0 deductible, $1 million medical limit, primary payer of claims. You get an ID card, you get access to a direct billing international PPO network, okay, for a very affordable premium. Okay, we talked about the Medicare side of it, right? Original Medicare is pretty much nothing internationally. The Medigap plan is 50,000 lifetime, and that's not even on all of them. That's on like the Plan F or the Plan G. There's some of them that don't even have that benefit, and then Advantage plan can very much vary for what that covers. Okay, let's talk about the products now. We have four products. They're all uh, they're all Blue Cross Blue Shield branded, and they're all available in Michigan, and they are also available in 47 states. The only states we do not have these products are New York, Washington State, and the state of Maryland. So we'll start from the left, the single trip plan. Another thing you'll notice if you were selling or were familiar with the Geo Blue products, we streamlined the names. So we made the names a lot simpler so that everyone understands exactly what it's for. So the first product is the single trip plan, and it's designed for someone going abroad on a single trip, generally one time per year. It's a guaranteed issue product up to age 95. Okay, it is also guaranteed issue up to 182 days. So, for example, you're going to Aruba for a week, you can buy it for a week. You have a client going on a Mediterranean cruise for 12 days, you can sell it for 12 days. Maybe you have someone that's backpacking through Europe for 6 months, up to 182 days, up to age 95. It'll cover accident, injury, and illness abroad. You wake up one morning, you have a stomach ache. That's covered 100%. You need to go to the doctor. You're walking down a cobblestone street in Italy and you have a knee condition and you tweak your knee and need an MRI. That's covered 100%. You are hospitalized and you need blood work. and you came down with acute appendicitis or something like that, and you need to have surgery, that is covered at 100%. Accidents, injury, illnesses abroad. It will also cover for most pre-existing medical conditions if you have a primary plan in the US. On the platinum plan, you'll see a single trip gold and or platinum. On the platinum product, we will cover most pre-existing conditions if you have a primary plan in the US. That can be Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, that can be Priority Health. So you don't need to have Blue Cross to purchase this plan. Any US citizen, any US resident who is going abroad can purchase this product. So this product can essentially blanket your entire block of business of any US citizen, any US resident traveling abroad. No excluded countries except Antarctica. So unfortunately, we don't do the Antarctic expeditions, but anywhere else you're going, you would be covered as part of this plan. Premiums are based on age and length of trip. And I think once you get the quoting tool and start looking at it, you'll be amazed at how affordable this really is. If you're going abroad, we just passed the spring break season. If you were 18 years old going to the Dominican Republic for 3 or 4 days, you're probably paying $2 a day. If you are 95 going to Italy for 3 months, you're probably paying $20 a day. So it really depends on age and length of trip. All the plans include coverage for the medical evacuation. All the plans include coverage for repatriation of remains, as I mentioned previously. The gold plan is for someone who does not have a pre-exist or a primary major medical plan in the U.S. So if you have someone on a short-term medical plan, or they're uninsured, or they're on Medicaid, they would purchase the gold plan. And the main difference between gold and platinum is pre-existing condition coverage. Platinum covers it, gold does not. The second product, was there a question in there, Chelsea? Or are we good?
Yeah, you just said it. He was asking about
Okay.
pre-existing coverage.
Yep, you got it. The second product is the multi-trip plan. So again, this was previously called Trekker. We simplified it to just the multi-trip plan. So it's designed for someone going on multiple trips per year. So for example, say you're in the small group market and you have an executive that is going maybe to Latin America once a quarter. Instead of that individual purchasing 4 single trip plans, they could just do one multi-trip plan. They buy it one time. It's good for the entire year. They can go on unlimited trips. They don't have to tell us each time they're going. It is also a guaranteed issue product up to age 95. The only caveat here is that no trip in a given year can exceed 70 days. If someone's going on a 70-day or more trip, they would have to do the single trip plan. US health plan is required here. So again, either an ACA, a group health plan, or a Medicare product. If you have one of those, we will cover pre-existing conditions on the multi-trip plan. This obviously, as mentioned, includes the coverage for the medical evacuation and the repatriation of remains. This is also very good for your senior markets because seniors were doing more international travel than any other demographic group, and they were the first to return to international travel pretty much after COVID. This also gives seniors a very good pricing point. It's around $300 for the entire year. And again, they can take as many trips as they want. So we talked about single trip, we talked about multi-trip. Now let's talk about the long-term plans. So I would say about 70 to 80% of your sales would be the short-term single and multi-trip plans. Some of you may have more opportunity for these longer-term options. These longer-term options are called expatriate plans. An expatriate, termed by the tax code, is someone who lives outside of their home country for generally 6 months or more in a given year. So our worldwide expatriate plan. This is a comprehensive major medical plan. And again, it's designed for someone living abroad full time. Comprehensive major medical plan, meaning it's not just accident and injury coverage, it includes wellness. You have the option to include US coverage as part of it under the Blue Card PPO. It would include things like mental health and physical therapy, much more amplified inpatient care. It has an unlimited lifetime maximum. The other major difference, however, though, besides the benefits being more comprehensive, is the fact that there is a traditional underwriting component to these long-term plans. There's a series of health questions, and then based on how those health questions are answered, someone can be rated as is. Someone can be rated up for a particular condition. A decline is possible on these long-term products. As mentioned, if you have an expat living overseas, for example, say you're working with a group and they say, we have a director of, let's say, a supply chain, we're sending him to Hong Kong for a 2-year work assignment. He's going to be doing extensive travel in Asia, and he's going to be coming back to the US, coming back to Michigan 2 or 3 times a year. Okay. You have the option to include US coverage as part of the Blue Card PPO, as part of this product. Maybe you have someone, you're in Detroit, you're working with one of the automakers, and maybe they have a plant in Mexico or something like that. So there's opportunities there for these international long term plans. And then the final product is our specialty plan, and it's designed for 3 subsets of individuals that are doing their own long-term assignments. Number one would be Marine crew, which probably would never come up in your market unless you're in, you have some business in Florida, for example, people working on boats or yachts. Number two would be the missionary market. Maybe, some of you are working with a mission client, someone going to, Guatemala, for example, to do mission work. We give them lower rates. But where I would see the most opportunity with this worldwide specialty plan would be international students, inbound and outbound. So, for example, you have a client that says, my child is going to Barcelona for a grad program. He's going to be there for 3 years. He's going to be coming back and forth between Europe and the United States. The specialty plan gives automatic coverage under Blue Card here in the US, and then international coverage with Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions. And then inbound as well. So, you have a foreign student that's coming to Detroit or coming to Michigan to a study here 3 months or more. You could put them on a specialty plan. And again, they get the Blue Card coverage here. They get it nationally, and they could even go back to their home country with it. So, international students, missionaries, mariners, expatriates, senior travelers, business travelers, leisure travelers, all opportunities for Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions. If you need a passport, you need a plan. Here's
We've
our
got
case.
two. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Todd.
Uh
We've
huh.
got two questions. The first
Sure.
one's an easy one. Can agents get a copy of these slides from you?
Well, let me check with marketing on that. They
Okay,
kind
that's
of
what I
keep these
figured.
slides tight to the breath, but maybe I can send it over.
Right. I know that I can, since you have attended, I can give you a copy of the presentation, not the slides, but like a recording, I should say, of this, in
Yeah,
a few days here. So that is an option. But I don't want to speak for Todd. I'm not sure if we can get the slides. And then another question, I think what they're asking is, does it matter if the person is over 65 and they want pre-existing coverage on the Platinum program? Does it matter if they have a Medicare supplement plan or an Advantage plan to qualify for that pre-existing condition coverage? I
good
think is what
question.
they're
Yeah,
asking.
both count. Is as long as it's either a Medicare supplement plan or a Medicare Advantage plan count at towards platinum to cover the pre-existing conditions. Yes.
Perfect. Tim, if that Timothy, if that was what you're asking, I hope so. If not, go ahead and re-ask me and I'll try to ask it again for you.
Yeah, and we realize now the market's almost 60. I think it's over 60% Medicare Advantage now anyway.
Right.
So, yeah, here's our case study, kind of wrapping this all together of the value of why it's so important to have one of these plans. This was a senior couple from Arizona. They were traveling in the south of France. The husband was trying to take a picture of some gargoyle or something crazy, and he leaned over a parapet a little too far, and he completely fell off. He obviously, thankfully didn't lose his life, but he had a vicious fracture of his femur. I saw pictures of it. It was the stuff, sort of nightmares are made of. And he was brought to the blood everywhere. His bone was sticking out, and he was brought to the nearest facility. His wife called us immediately at time of claim. I always say, try to get in contact with us as soon as possible so we can open the case. Medical case management and case monitoring is absolutely part of this. We have doctors and nurses that are involved in every single case. to make sure our members are getting the most appropriate treatment. If they're not getting the most appropriate treatment, we will get them out of the facility where they are, out of the doctor's office where they are, and get them to a center of excellence. And that's what happened here. We were not confident in the hospital that he was brought to, which was, sort of the local 911. We got him out of that facility into one of our facilities. We paid for the ground ambulance and got him in our facility, obviously. Um, it was determined that he needed to have surgery locally. Everyone was confident in the orthopedic surgeon. He had a surgery, recuperated there for roughly 5 days. And then we're constantly monitoring for fitness to fly, is what it's called. And we arranged for him to get back to Phoenix, Arizona, where he was from. He needed an upgraded seating on one of those Lufthansa flights where he could recline all the way back. And we also covered his wife's ticket to help him as a non-medical escort. So if you look at the medical services involved, $8,000, $16,000 just for the upgraded arrangements, $24,000 in costs, every penny of which direct billed to Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions. He had a multi-trip plan. They had a multi-trip plan, 349 for the entire year. So you can't say that there wasn't bang for their buck for this product. They got the direct pay, obviously. They got the medical case monitoring. We arranged and paid for the travel assistance to get them home, and we coordinated their repatriation back to the United States. If you had a senior, for example, and just say they had that, supplement benefit of $50,000 lifetime, you may be someone that says, well, hey, it was $24,000. It would have been covered. Yes, it theoretically, maybe it would have been covered, but you would have had a senior and their family doing all of this by themselves. Okay, we handled all of this case, and we even talked to the wife afterward, and they just said, "You guys got us back to our door," and we didn't know what we would have done if we didn't have this because there was no way, they were over 70 years old, they wouldn't have been able to manage every single aspect of this in terms of paying for it, making sure that they were fit to fly, and then obviously arranging for the upgraded seating to get back home. So it was obviously a very daunting case that we made a lot easier for the family. Okay. Chelsea, if we can put the contracting link in the chat, that'd be great. So here's how to contract to sell these plans. You just go to this URL right here at the bottom. It takes about 5 minutes. And when you are contracted, you will receive a Pearl, which is a link, a personalized URL, and that is how you sell the plan. You can quote from it. You can put it on your agency website. If you have access to doing that, I would always suggest that. You can put it in your email signature. That's another good way. For every email, you can say here, click here if you have any international travel coming up. We have email templates you can blast out to your clients. You do not need a lot of hard marketing dollars to get this product out there. If you have open enrollment meetings, put a flyer about Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions in there. Make sure our biggest problem is not our competitors per se, it's education. People just don't think about it. People are more concerned about whether their cell phone works overseas than whether their health insurance works overseas. So that's where we would like your help as the agents to obviously educate your clients about the need for international travel medical plans. These products are also commissionable, 15%. We, as Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions, will pay that to you directly. It won't come from Action Benefits, it'll come from us directly. So again, you can just go to this link right here. It takes about 5 minutes to contract. And once you contract, you will receive pretty much automatically a welcome email, a confirmation email with your personalized URL to begin quoting and selling. Here's just a screenshot of the dashboard here. You get access to our GeoBlue Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions dashboard. You can quote from this. You can download marketing materials. When you all have time, you can check out the whole marketing area, the flyers that you can download accordingly. You can check your commission statements, your sales. Your pearls are here as well. Your Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions pearl is right there if you just want to copy the link. Any leads that you have will show up as well. So yeah, definitely check this out when you have a minute or two. Just a glimpse of the flyers. You can personalize the flyers with your information on them. They're great for any sort of OEP or AEP meeting you're doing with clients, and you can personalize them with your information very easily. And just a summary here, everything, I essentially talked about, just the guaranteed issue, the international PPO network, medical evacuation, repatriation. They're so important because they're very high dollar. They're not expected, but when costs like that come, in particular, the shock claims of a medical evacuation can be huge. The highest medical evacuation I've ever seen was $240,000. It was an air ambulance from Egypt. That was just, obviously the family did not have a spare $250,000. Luckily, they had one of these Blue Cross Blue Shield Global Solutions plans, and obviously the coverage for the pre-existing medical conditions. Here is the contact information for our broker support team. If you can feel free to contact them as well. And we have hired quite a few people for that department. So we have a fully staffed broker support team that is more than happy to answer your calls, your questions when you feel free. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions now. Any
Now,
more
if
questions?
an agent got a question from a client about like they have a plan already and they for some reason call the agent instead of use their plan and because they have a
Mhm,
question about what is covered or whatever, could
mhm.
the agent use this contact information on the
Yes.
screen or would that be
Yep.
okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, any sort of, even if it's like a claim issue or something, you can contact this team. If a policy accidentally, went direct, for example, and the agent wants to retag it to them, you can use this team. Any sort of broker services issue can, go here. If you have an escalated issue that you feel is not getting appropriately, reconciled or supported, then, by all means reach out to me and I can try to help.
We have a question.
Yeah.
How does agent of record work and can the agent be changed?
Agents can be changed. For short-term policies, it's very easy to do that. If there's like a direct sale or something, we can just change it over to the agent. If we generally don't do AORs for short-term policies if it went through another broker just because of the low dollar premiums of those plans. If there is something on a long-term plan, we do recognize AOR, BOR.
Okay, while everybody else is getting their typing fingers warmed up, I always like to look at this stuff a little bit before my friends present it for me. And I always just quote myself just because I'm curious. It was really affordable. Like I
Yeah.
was surprised at how affordable it really was to get some coverage like this just for a just in case situation while I would be, I don't know, doing whatever I'd be doing in wherever just for that peace of mind safety. I always think back to before I worked in health insurance, and I would always just have assumed, I guess, like, oh, I was taking a cruise in Mexico or whatever, that my health insurance would just work there. It's just, I pay for it, and I would assume it worked, and that's not necessarily the case. And those of us who work insurance, health insurance, we know that, but like our regular clients, I don't think they understand that. So I think, Todd, you are totally right where it's an education thing. And I think
Yes.
that's where agents have to come in, step in, and kind of throw it in front of their clients so they can not only make sure that they're safe when they're going out into the wild blue non-United
Yeah.
States yonder,
Yeah.
but
No, and
I
I've
know.
I've I've just 20 years doing this almost, and I've just seen so many times where either a senior or under 65 person went to the agent and said, "Well, why didn't you tell me my Medicare supplement only covered $50,000? I have a $100,000 claim. Why didn't you tell me my ACA plan didn't cover internationally at all? Why didn't you tell me?" So if you're dealing with a client and they have a claim like this, they're going to come back to you and say, "Well, why didn't you tell me that?" So it's just best. Education is key, and maybe you all didn't think about something like this before, but now you're obviously equipped with the knowledge. And if you need a passport, you need a plan, feel free to say that. And please, take advantage of these products for your jet setting seniors or under 65.
Because I even think like, oh, $50,000 sounds like a lot of money to me, like and to non-insurance me. But now that I've worked in health insurance, I'm like, we
Right.
don't know how far $50,000 will go in, Sri Lanka or like, I don't know, York Tusk, wherever you're going to go. We don't know how far that
Right.
money's going to go. So like you might as well grab a plan that you know for sure for, that low price. Just grab it so that you know. So you don't have to worry about it. You got that translator there so you can that's the other thing that I think about a lot. I'm like, man, if I were to go to China and I wouldn't know. I would be asking somebody on the street and they'd be looking at me like,
Right.
man, you should have got a travel plan. What were you doing?
Yeah,
All right, it looks like we got
absolutely.
a question.
Sure.
Can Todd give us his telephone number? Is that
Yeah.
on the other slide? Can we?
Up here. Hold on, let me get back here. Here you go.
Awesome. All right. I don't see any other questions in the chat, but that doesn't mean that someone might not be typing right now. So if you have any other questions or if you think of anything else, please let me or your account manager know and we can get that answer out to you. There's that link one more time to get appointed with Todd if you are interested. Like I said, highly recommend it. And then I think, Todd, unless you've got anything else for us, any
No, that's good. I
surprises?
hope everyone
Okay.
enjoys the summer months and safe travels.
Right, yeah, this is a great time to think about it because people are going out there, they're traveling. And that's about it for Todd and I. Later on this afternoon at 2, Randy is going to hit you guys with some Life Secure. So get back here at 2. Have a nice, drink in your hand because it's going to be a little warmer. So switch your coffee to something iced instead, and then get here for 2 o'clock with Randy with Life Secure. All right, Todd, thank you so much
You
for
got
doing
it.
this
Take
for
care,
my
everyone.
agents. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care.